Welcome back to the City Current Radio Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. Once again, we're coming to you from our home studios. So I'm here in my City Current home studios. Our next guest is in his home as well. He is on the front lines with his company, though, dealing with the coronavirus. And so we're honored to talk to our good friend. He is the president and owner of ServiceMaster by Cornerstone, Tyler Pattat. How are you doing, Tyler?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
So let's start with a little context before we dive into everything you're doing on the front lines with the coronavirus, but share a little bit about ServiceMaster by Cornerstone.
ServiceMaster by Cornerstone has been around since 1998, franchise since 2001, and my wife and I bought it from my in-laws in the end of 2018. So we're a little year and a half in. We do fire and water restoration. We do the rebuild on the back end as well. And then we have a lot of contents work that we provide for customers. And we do a little bit of everything and try to be a resource in the community.
And so we're talking on the residential and the commercial side. So it's everything from obviously individual homes to very large businesses and warehouses and everything in between.
That's correct. Yep.
Talk about on your end some of the things that makes you unique. I know that one of the things is you have the technology to clean clothes and items that sometimes in a fire might get thrown away, but in this case you can save them, which is huge for families with valuables and things that they want to keep. So talk about some of the things that make ServiceMaster by Cornerstone unique.
Yeah, so one of our values, innovation. We're always looking for a better way to provide a good customer experience to the end user, as well as retain the customers that we're ultimately working for, whether that's the insurance carrier, brokers, agents, property managers. And so we utilize that value innovation to make sure that we have the latest, greatest items. We use that in training our technicians. So for instance, soft contents cleaning, we're the only provider of soft contents cleaning that can third-party certify sewage, mold losses, and also very heavy sooted items in a fire. We have great success rate on restoring those items. So we just use that as a way to better the experience for the customer and also lower the cost for the carrier when we're processing these claims.
Share a little bit about, because obviously the coronavirus is top of mind for everyone. First and foremost, we want to make sure that everyone is remaining safe and healthy. But talk about what you're seeing from your vantage point, because you are being called in now to go in and disinfect and to try to make sure that facilities and these businesses are able to still maintain operations, but do it obviously in a very sanitized environment. So talk about what you're seeing from your vantage point.
Yeah, so about 2 weeks ago, tomorrow, our team decided that we were going to work the safer from home model into our business. And our team, our admin staff support system, we are working remotely. We are still processing claims the same way as we normally would, just remotely. And we've adapted our business to be in the way that things are operating. As claims still come in, we're still able to dispatch crews. The challenge that we are having, or not really a challenge, but one of the things that we're learning is we are having a pre-screening sheet for the clients that are contacting us, so we can say, hey, did you travel on spring break to a known hot zone? Were you out of the country? Not really to get personal with them, but to understand what our crews are walking into.
Yeah. So you're having to ask all the same questions that CDC and these other states and things are having to ask.
That's right. Yeah. Not because I care where the family went on vacation, but because we are sending our employees into a potential hazardous area, right? And I say hazardous like it's a scary word, but if there's a known case or a suspected case, we don't want our employees going in and doing a water damage without proper PPE. So just because there is that case that someone is quarantined or they self-quarantine, that doesn't mean that we're not going to service you. We just have to use proper PPE and utilize that protocol to make sure that we keep our people safe.
Yeah. What does that mean on your end? So for those where, they might have traveled out of the country, they might have a known case that has been in the office. What does that mean for your team in terms of different precautionary steps that you have to take to make sure that, like you said, you protect your employees? So in other words, how is this kind of affecting for those areas where you know that they're walking into more of a hazardous area? What steps then do you have to take?
Two different scenarios here. One scenario would be that the person tested positive for COVID-19, but they're no longer in this space. And also anyone else is no longer in the space. So let's say a coworker came in and said that they were sick, tested positive, but they had been in the office in the last few days. We can come in and disinfect with CDC guidelines. The products that we're using, technology that we're using, electrostatic spraying allows us to come in, very invasive, hit high touch point areas, wipe downs, just using the protocols that the CDC put out, but we are suited up. We have proper personal protective equipment for our people to stay safe. And we've processed a little over 30 buildings that were known cases here in the Mid-South to date. And, so far our employees are treating it very carefully. They're owning up to the challenge, and it's been great to watch and see how they've taken care of this. So little did I know, about 6 months ago, we sent more than half of our company through HAZWOPER training for 40 hours. So we shut the entire company down, and half of our company went through this training. Well, now all the guys that went through this training are getting to go out and do,
real world application.
Real world application. So while the CDC does not recommend HAZWOPER guidelines, it's still good that we have that knowledge, that we're trained to be able to do that. And it's been great so far. It's just dealing with the challenge. The other scenario would be that somebody lives in this home, they are quarantined, they have a water damage, and we have to treat it. In that scenario, we would come in with the proper PPE. We would work as normal in that PPE. The challenge that we're going to have, or we're having, is the insurance carriers have shut down the job site inspections by adjusters, and also the call volume with desk adjusters. So it's really hard to get approvals and make sure that everything is documented. So that's one of the challenges that we're seeing. But those scenarios, we just treat them the same as we normally would, but we have to use proper PPE for our people.
Yeah. Talk about it from a supplies standpoint, and then we'll shift over and talk about the philanthropic side of everything you're doing related to this. But I just think it's neat from a business standpoint when you look at all the different things that now become challenges. There's a lot of them and everything like we're talking about, but one of them is making sure that you actually have adequate supplies. So share a little bit of that vantage point and just how things are going to make sure that you guys, are fully equipped on the supplies side to do everything that needs to be done.
Yeah, so we have had to get creative when it comes to getting this PPE for our people. I think we have a little over 5,000 masks ordered as of right now that are supposed to fulfill somewhere between May and July. As we start getting those orders in, the 5,000 is from different vendors, obviously, 1,000 per 5 vendors. And so as we get them in or how they get fulfilled, obviously we would just back off that other order. Or if this continues to pick up and keep going, then we're on the list, right?
Yeah.
It's been nice. The power of ServiceMaster, being able to leverage those relationships across the nation, has been great. And so we've been able to take advantage of that. And then, just staying in the know of what's going on. About 2 or 3 weeks before this really got going, our team met and said, hey, let's watch it. Let's keep watch on it. And then we got to that drop dead date where we knew, hey, we've got to place a significant order here to make sure that we're available to be in the community working and helping get these places back up in business. So we already have a kind of a stockpile of stuff that we did. And that was, our leadership team, we did a great job with that. So it's good to know that we're in a network. The franchise network's been great to deal with throughout this. We've done jobs, referred jobs to us in New Jersey, Michigan, Louisville, Kentucky. So all over the nation, we're getting stuff, requests, and our network is really providing a great service.
Switch over and let's talk about philanthropy, because I think it's neat. You have a great relationship already with the fire department and Shelby County Sheriff's Office, and so you're tying this into the philanthropic efforts as well, because they're first responders serving on the front lines, and so protecting them is paramount. So share some of the philanthropic side of what you're doing related to this.
Yeah, so there was a issue with making sure that these businesses, as the safer at home work requirements came out, making sure that the 901 dispatch or 911 dispatch station for the Shelby County Police Department and the fire department stayed open. And they reached out to us because of the relationship that we already have and said, hey, what can we do to do a weekly, preventative cleaning, just to make sure that if somebody has it, doesn't know that they have it yet, that we're making sure that we take care of our people that have to come in and work for the community. And so we were able to provide that service, and everything was fine. And then we quickly saw, hey, there's a need here to the people that are actually out working and patrolling these areas. If they're having to go into houses and settle disputes, or ambulance service having to go in and get someone who's sick, if they have cross-contamination, bringing this virus into vehicles or whatever it may be. So this week we're going to start a free service with the Shelby County Police Department and the fire department to 10 minutes per vehicle, wipe down high touch points areas, make sure that these vehicles stay sanitary. And obviously we know if somebody gets a case after we sanitize, then obviously, we have to treat it. But this is just something to give back, say, hey guys, we believe in you, and obviously we're here for you. They do a lot for our community, so it's the least we could do to make sure they stay safe.
Yeah. And just for listeners, we're pre-recording these interviews now. And this is one of those that by the time you hear this, you're going to be rocking and rolling on this in terms of being able to help them. So I think that's really neat to know on the front end, but also too, the fact that by the time people hear this, you're going to be doing this full scale. Talk about in general, 901 gives and a lot of the stuff that, when you look at your tie-ins to the community as a whole, what puts a smile on your face just with, ServiceMaster by Cornerstone overall, you and your family, in terms of being able to give back, make a difference, and tie into just making the community stronger and better?
Yeah. So, I've always had a heart for the giving back, and then whenever you approached us a few years ago to come on board with cityCURRENT, it's been great to work with you and continue to grow our partnership. It just started out at a low level, and now we're a partner.
Yeah, you're charter partners.
That's right. It's great to be a part of this, and then also with other businesses in our community. We pay attention to what's going on all around us. We have great subcontractors and people who work for us. And Dustin Smith with 901 Gives, he posted on social media that he was looking to do this idea, and WMC Action News 5 picked it up. And his goal, I think, was to provide somewhere between 1,500 and 2,500 meals to people who, one, are losing the opportunity to eat because school's closing down. Two, people who are being laid off. Three, people who, in any scenario, they're self-quarantined, whatever it may be, that they can't get to the grocery store. This provides a free way for them to still eat. And so I called him up and I said, hey, man, we're out here rocking and rolling, going into these hot zones. Our guys are working their tails off. There's a whole nother aspect to our community that's being impacted. And while we're doing good on the business front, hey, I want to donate some meals. And so we got together and figured on, hey, we're going to do 700 meals, and those will be distributed out over a week in the next few weeks. So I think now he's over 4,500 meals based on everyone who stepped up to work through this. So it's been a great opportunity to give back. I mean, that's really the main focus here. So we're blessed to be able to do it.
I think those are the things that you just, you mentioned Action News 5, but the reality is so much of this stuff flies under the radar. And I just think it's good for people to understand that, yes, we're going through a challenging time, but you have so many people and companies that are rallying and doing whatever they can. And in your case, obviously talking about the meals and working with the fire department and the police department, Shelby County Sheriff's Office, like whatever it takes and just for all of us to be able to continue lifting and continue to push in and work through this together. So I love it. I appreciate everything you're doing. Share for listeners how
Thank
to
you.
get in touch with you. So website, phone number, where do we go to learn more about ServiceMaster by Cornerstone and reach out when we need you?
So you can call our office, 901-624-9200. You can catch us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. And then also our website is smcornerstone.com. So you can get in touch with us in all kinds of different ways. And we're always trying to post something to better the community, show you what we're doing, show you the crazy stuff we're doing. So hope you enjoy.
Well, Tyler Pattat, owner, ServiceMaster by Cornerstone, thank you for all you do. Greatly appreciate it. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jeremy.